fan, we are back trying something a little different, and that's because you guys are subscribing. We just passed 130 subscribers, and I'm going to say it, we cool cats, if you subscribe, you're a cool cat. And cool cats, we've got a goal, and the goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers. So that's it. I'm gonna say it, it's out there in the universe. Let's make this year awesome. So let's get into the weekly dev stream. Okay, so it's a dev stream, same time, same channel, on the 26th, and I believe it's their 9th stream. It was a very, I'm gonna start off like this, it was a very good stream. Was there information as far as what we want, like a roadmap or something along? No, there was nothing like that. There was no conversations of Hawkeye for the most part. There was no playthrough for him or anything visual for that. They didn't show us anything new with, you know, Black Panther or any other characters that, you know, have been mentioned in the past. No hints at anything really big or significant. But the reason why this dev stream was one of their better ones, and if they keep the consistency of what this stream was moving forward, it would be awesome for the community and just for the state of this game, because they are, as of right now, they are really the face of this game. It didn't matter what questions were it didn't matter what questions were asked inside the chat. The thing about it was they had an answer for everything, and there was a format and there was a system. And whether you had LK, who was running the actual Crystal Dynamics response, and then you had Sonic and Lex that were in there helping and answering questions as the mods that they were doing. And then you had times where Andy and Phil literally just stopped playing the game. Like, they had it to the point where they finished doing a few missions and they transitioned to another screen, so you didn't see any, you know, lag or hiccup. You didn't see the whole constant, oh, we're trying to get someone to play, but hold on, is our mic working, is this and this. It was really smooth once it got going. No technical issues, but the thing was, like, they were just on point with their questions, and not just being on point like, okay, fine, we know it, you know, here's the answer, here's the answer, here's the answer. You can hear in Phil's voice, in Andy's voice, that they understand the concerns in the community, and they're answering based off of that. I mean, the conversation comes off, what you're listening to is like a podcast. I'm still on the fence of whether or not I should do a podcast or not, but it just comes off as genuine. And sometimes when you listen to some dev streams, or if they're breaking down patch notes and things of that nature, it just seems very robotic. It seems like they're just reading off of a sheet, that there's a disconnect. And I get it, because of the miscommunication and lack thereof, it feels like a disconnect. But when you watch these streams without technical difficulties, you do not feel that disconnect with these individuals. LK seems like she's a savage and she will throw hands at anybody. But for the most part, the dynamic duo, Andy and Phil, they've been there from day one, and all of them are genuine, cool people. It just seems like once they hit record and they start talking about the game, and they start saying stuff with, we're having issues with multiplayer and we're trying to fix it, you feel like they actually understand it. And then there's times where they're like, yeah, we know about the problem with the skin reacting with the hair, and then they go into more details of it, not just yeah, we know, moving on. So great job to that crew. I hope that, again, they keep bringing the heat. Again, those three are really, man, that was a really good stream. So let's get into the dev recap. Now, they said Hawkeye's dev stream is going to be on March 12th. I apologize, March 12th, with the combat developer and animator joining, and that's awesome. We saw Revealing Too Much, and if you haven't checked out his video on him talking with Hannah, one of the writers, alongside Andy, it was a really eye-opening into the process of how they put these stories together, and what's kind of what the future is holding for this game. Now, no, it doesn't break any news. No, it's not going to sit there and tease anything in the future, but it's a conversation of kind of where we started and how we got where we're at now. So if you can go check out Revealing Too Much. But anyways, that is awesome that they're changing the format and bringing people in. If you bring in designers and people who work on the game and have that conversation, that's what the dev stream is supposed to be, a developmental stream. If you're playing with the community, and the Division 2 does it, and Destiny does it, and Sea of Thieves does it, it's not something that happens all the time. And when it does, it's normally at a different state of the game, where the community might be in a different mood. So I think if they go more to this format where it comes off like a podcast, I've said it multiple times, the way this stream should be is informative and fun. That's what it should be. I understand they're not professionals, maybe streaming, and they have other, areas of expertise that they're working in for Crystal Dynamics, but the devs in this stream, if it's fun and informative, I honestly think people will enjoy it. So let's keep moving on. There's a new Black Widow and Miss Marvel skin arriving next week. They didn't say what comic it's coming from, where's the inspiration coming from. I know there's a new Iron Man that looks like kind of like Bumblebee, Johnny Five-ish type retro, almost looks like a Sony character that would be promoting a brand new television. But I like it, and as much as some people in the community are griping about it, they honestly did a really good job of pulling it from the comics. So I can only imagine what's going to happen with that. It would be cool to the hardcore, or the comic fans. I wouldn't be one, I'm casual, if they would do a hint where it would say, page 37, and so now you have all the comic fans running around looking for page 37 with Miss Marvel, or page 47 for Black Widow, and they're like, oh, it could be this, oh, it could be this. And I think that would be pretty cool if they did something like that, like issue this, episode whatever. But I understand why they cannot say what the comic reference is or the original reference is, because once you look at the picture, and we saw what happened with the knighted Iron Man, it doesn't really make a lot of people happy, because it kind of gets them excited for something. Moving on, next week we're gonna get a minor patch that's gonna fix Iron Man's noise glitch. If you haven't played, when he uses I can't remember the name now, he uses one of his lasers, and when he uses it sounds, everyone has a different sound. It sounds like a sneeze, or a yawn, or a cat sound. I don't know, but they're gonna fix that noise. So if you want to clip that noise, you're running out of time. And it's bringing back the battery charge on his missile. They're also going to repair the King Hulk hair glitch that's been floating around for a minute, and they're going to address that. Now, moving on, in March 18th, there'll be a patch, and this patch will include an extensive note, such as fixing the harm room issues. They understand there's issues and concerns that are going on in there, and they are going to fix it with that patch on March 18th. And they've also teased some other stuff, but that won't get revealed until social media, and that'll be later, right? The question came up multiple times, and it normally does in multiple streams, and they want to remind people that PvP is not any priority, as they want to focus on what they have. So they're not necessarily saying that they'll never have a PvP system in the game, and I don't see how that comes up yet when they've got to work on making the gameplay smoothly. You got a next gen launch that's happening. You really honestly have a relaunch of this whole franchise that's probably going to come up before the holiday season. You need more content in the game. There's too many things to be doing before you add more on your plate, and I agree with the statement of it is not a priority right now. And then you still got Gear 2.0 if they do that, or Gear 1.5, where your power level increases or your gear increases, so that you get more gear sets, more perks, rerolls, things of that nature, so that when you're doing PvP, that there's a element of, I guess, a variety of builds instead of metas floating around. Let's see, Hawkeye has a Hawkeye, that's like a tongue twister right now. Hawkeye Stark Tech armor is called Iron Eye. There you go. So Hawkeye's gonna have a suit just like everybody else. It's gonna be Stark Tech, and it's gonna be called Iron Eye. Why can't I say that? Hawkeye's Stark Tech. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Dreams happen. And probably the last note on here is the cloning labs. Everybody wants to know about the cloning labs. Cloning lab contents is almost finalized. They're mainly focused on progression and fixing bugs that could affect the Omega threat level gameplay negativity. The bug is an issue because of the longer play times necessary to finish it, and it stands out with these lengthy missions. These missions will take several hours, as you need to solve puzzles that only get hinted through the environment. Teamwork is essential. That's interesting. I mean, we've always talked about the idea of wanting cloning labs, and I hear in the community a lot of people are like, man, cloning labs is broken. Put it out there. I don't care if some of the puzzles don't work. I don't care if it needs optimization. Put it out there. We're having issues right now with multiplayer. Screw it. Just put it out there, and we'll like it. We'll play it. It is what it is. We just want it now. And I kind of agree, because we want something new, but then I could just see how this could be bad, where it's like you put it out there and then you're like, this is horrible. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And so they're doing the process the way they want to, and I can't fault them for it. Now, if they take the time they're taking to put out cloning labs and it still fumbles out of the gate, like the deep dive that we talked about with Clint, like you could have just put the deep dive out right about nowish, or even mention it right about nowish, and then the deep dive in a week or so, and I think the community completely looks at it different. I think what the deep dive is, a week before the deep dive, had you made a 10-minute video on just the next gen features, that would have changed everything, because the next gen features got its own it has its own spotlight, and you would have had showing off Clint, his gameplay, the gameplay that was playing in the background. You would have that shown, because we would have content creators wouldn't have to go look for that would have already been out. And your questions on the system and what is it going to do with the controller and this and this, what's the benefits, what's the differences between current and next gen, those would have been answered in a 10-minute video, creating hype and continuing, I want to say, great communication with the community. But then when you put that in with Hawkeye, and again, these deep dives and war tables, especially when you're introducing a new character, I'm not expecting it to be 30 minutes long or an hour long like it used to be when the game launched. I get it, the focus shifts. We're in a pandemic, fires, things of that nature, right? But man, I feel like they're supposed to make you, if I could sidebar for a little bit, aren't they? I could be wrong, let me know in the comments, but for the war tables and they introduce a new character, wouldn't you want them to show why this character is awesome? Especially if you're a fan. Picture you being a fan of Hawkeye, right? And again, this style is supposed to be similar to a podcast. It's a podcast, it is what it is. Picture your favorite character and you're hyped about it. You're telling your friends, you're playing online, you're telling your buddies, you're like, hey, listen, hey, blah 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 is coming out, Blue Marvel's coming out, it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be awesome. And then you get the deep dive for Blue Marvel, and Blue Marvel is 7 minutes. 7 minutes, they go through his skills pretty fast, and you still think he's the best thing since sliced bread, and if you didn't know, he is. But the rest of the world doesn't know that. So I just think they need to, it would be awesome if they would have given Clint his own, and I think they can still do it. On the 12th, when the devs come in to focus on Hawkeye, right before the launch, they're gonna give that love and TLC, but I think that's how it should have been. 2 separate trailers coming out, one for next gen for 10 minutes, answering any questions about that, showing off next gen and creating that hype, and then the other one showing Hawkeye, his history in the comics, where they're taking the reference from, and then doing something like, I don't know, explaining not only the arrows, but explaining the situations you would use those arrows in. On Kate's, they actually did that. On Kate's, they actually showed kind of what you would use each weapon for, give or take the scenario. So that was a thing. But I mean, even if you look at it this way, I'm not saying you would get the voice actor or just the actor. I don't like to call them voice actors, they're actors. But if you get the actor that did Miss Marvel, and she's the one that does the voiceover every time there's a new character, that'd be awesome, in my opinion, because the way Miss Marvel reacts to the hero community is the way that we as fans act. So can you imagine if they're like, oh my gosh, this is Hawkeye, he's got this arrow right here, like, so this arrow, if your team is down and it's going crazy, like, I don't know, cloning labs, if you shoot the arrow, the radius goes like this far, and you can just imagine her stretching her arms out ridiculous length, and and explaining like the history of his comics. Like, I remember in episode 14, page 7, when he saved the cat from the tree, I knew he was awesome. I'm just saying. And then that one time where him and Kate teamed up to go run for coffee it was different, but it was cool. Like something like that. I think the community would enjoy it. I think fans of that character be like, see, that's why this character is better than anyone else. That's why this character is awesome, whatever. And then when you get this new character, especially when it's been about 4 months since we got really anything down the pipeline, it's just, it's tough. But criticism is warranted as long as it's constructive, it's respectful. And you know, the devs have outlets that you can give that to. So that's your weekly dev recap. Okay, if you like this style, hit the thumbs up, say in the comments what would you like in a podcast. There's so many awesome podcasts that are out right now. You have Avengers Assemble, which is Stardust and High Ruler. Professor has one that he just started. Lejeune kind of does stuff like that as well, where he kind of talks about a topic for a longer period of time. I think I already mentioned High Ruler, but yeah, I want to add to the community, not take away from the community. I do have 14 episodes already lined up, but yeah, let me know if you want me to randomly just talk about Marvel stuff. But anyhow, that's it. That's all I got. You could have been anywhere in the world and you're here. Your time is valuable. Thank you for subscribing, the notifications. For the people from Twitch, thank you for your support. We're almost at 100, and that's awesome. Until next time, kalika-lika-lao.